some manufacturers make their cars illegally loud.
Oh.
You're getting a lot more rust than you are metal.
Welcome to Supercars of London.
You go to Maranello, you go to Modena, it is literally like Disneyland for petrol heads. Rev Vuelto, for me, if I'm going to go and buy a new car tomorrow, it's that. It's just a UFO on the road.
What happened or is happening at GVE?
There are going to be three sides to the story.
What are the three sides?
His side, dealer's side, and the truth. Ooh. They're now controlling how you spec your car.
That part feels like a continent.
Porsche, I think, are worse than Ferrari at this.
What is the most overrated car right now? Everyone's hyped about it, but you're like, come on, no. They look like Duplo bricks.
They have to go crazy with the power to try and hide the weight.
Is car insurance now a big scam?
I think it's the biggest legal scam.
What's the worst car you've ever driven and why?
Christ.
Filthy bastards. What's the dirtiest secret in the luxury supercar market?
That is a good question. I do like the secret that Goodwood Festival of Speed is obviously this huge show, right? Where manufacturers bring their latest cars. And as much as it is a demonstration of what they've built, they're obviously hoping to create a bit of noise around that car and they're going to try and sell them. And I am aware that some manufacturers make their cars illegally loud and different to the production car.
Ooh.
So that when they're going up the hill, everyone's like, whoa, that sounds good.
Oh,
but actually,
naughty.
then you go and order one, and yours turns up,
and it's a hybrid, and it's
it
quiet,
and it doesn't sound like that at all.
Oh, that's filthy. Because that makes a difference. Because I years ago had the 488,
yeah,
and someone said, "Oh, look, try my 488. Looks nicer, you know, probably a better car. Sounded like half as good,
yeah."
And back then they wanted like 80 odd grand more to trade up. But I wouldn't have traded up for 20 grand.
Yeah.
Because the sound was gone.
Well, you know now the 488s are cheaper than a 458.
I think that's why. Isn't the 458 the last naturally aspirated?
Yeah.
And
the 488 is obviously the twin turbo. But I think back then, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years ago, that they were essentially straight piping their cars. So they were just removing the cats so that they would spit flames and be super loud.
Yeah.
Because they knew that the car actually was quite quiet because of the turbos and because of all of this emission stuff and the OPF filters. And they just knew, Goodwood, it's a hill climb. It's not a public road. We can truck the car there. We can drive it up the hill. We can put on a show.
I did not expect you to say this.
Yeah.
Oh, naughty bastards.
But I mean, like Ferrari back in the day used to tune their press cars. Did you know that?
No.
So Ferrari, they used to fiddle with the ECU so that the press cars would be faster than anyone ordering from the dealership. So you're driving a 458, you'd be like, oh my, like the journalist would be like, this is unbelievably fast. It's this, it's that. It's just incredible. And then there was a study that I think it was a 458, the Ferrari it was like a 458 Italia in America, an ex-press car went on a dyno alongside a customer's 458 Speciale, and I'm pretty sure they were either similar brake horsepower or the 458 Italia had more power than the Speciale.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they were doing it there to the press cars in the hope that the journalists are going to talk really highly because these cars were just frighteningly fast. So it would then come through in the words and in the videos to then obviously help build the sales on the car.
Yeah.
But then when the cars actually turned up, they were detuned.
Right.
Woo! You go into the supercar rental market, well, that's a whole different
What do they do there?
Detune the cars.
Oh, they just fiddle with them all.
Yeah. Like they're all underpowered. Maybe not the UK, but I bought in a car from Saudi Arabia and put it on a dyno, and the car had like 120 less brake horsepower than it should have had.
So that people renting them don't crash them.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And then they pull the Manatino off. Have you seen that? So you know how you can dial it up so that you turn traction control fully off? They just take away the lever. So you can't change the mode.
You kind of can't blame them for that, though, can you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because otherwise,
that's the opposite. That's
it might, I don't know, it might invalidate their warranty. If you're a supercar hire business and you need to get insurance, and all of your cars have the ability of turning traction control out, and then you're renting them out to people that you have no idea on their ability, the chance of them coming back in one piece are quite slim.
Yeah.
But I've driven a lot of rental cars out in the Middle East, and they're all underpowered and basically like not controllable in the settings.
Yeah.
Quite clever, but at the same time, you're not giving the customer a true Ferrari experience at that point, are you?
No. Wow. What's the biggest scam in the supercar world right now?
The numbers on the paper matter.
Meaning?
Every manufacturer is chasing the successor of the car that is currently on the road. Needs to be faster,
right?
0 to 60, higher top speed, the efficiency, the emissions, and all of that. I don't believe that manufacturers need to better the car that currently is made on paper. I think they should just improve making a car more enjoyable to drive on the roads that we're able to use them on. Does that make sense?
It doesn't. I didn't expect you to say that, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the new Testarossa and the new F80, what the fuck do they look like?
Can we swear on this podcast?
You can say,
okay.
They look like Duplo bricks.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, so that is a perfect example, right?
So I guess they made that to beat
the SF90.
The next fastest car.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not necessarily their competitors. They're not. I don't think that manufacturers are necessarily going after the competitors.
Well,
I think they're having...
Rimac's always after Koenigsegg and vice versa, aren't they? They're always at it.
For sure, yeah. But I think they're wondering how they can convert someone who's bought the SF90, lost a lot of money in the depreciation on that.
200 to 350 grand in 5 minutes.
A perfect example of what we're talking about. And Ferrari gone... well, we need to make a faster version of the SF90, which no one ever said the SF90 was not fast enough. And you can just work your way back through the production of Ferraris. Let's use as an example, Lamborghini are the same. I think Porsche is slightly different, but Mercedes, BMW M5 is a great example, where they're like, we have to give it more brake horsepower because it's the top line marketing message that then gets distributed worldwide as this is a better, faster, better technology version, which has justified why we've increased the price by 12%, let's say. But we're now at a point where I believe maybe 10 years ago was the sweet spot, where cars were the right amount of brake horsepower, they were the right weight, and therefore are the most enjoyable cars to drive on the road, which is what they are. They're road cars. They've got number plates. If you want a track-focused car that is just out and out bonkers on the track, go and buy a track car, go and buy a race car. But for us that enjoy the driving on the road and take it down to the south of France, drive through the Alps, or even in and around the UK, which is getting more and more monotonous to drive with average speed checks, potholes, the quality of the road, everything like that.
20 mile an hour speed limits.
Yeah. I just don't think it's necessary that manufacturers need to chase these numbers, which like they're just on paper because no one ever exerts the performance out of them now anyway.
No. And Ferrari, don't they kind of exaggerate them a bit and don't Porsche slightly underplay them a bit?
I think Audi, Porsche, maybe BMW to an extent as well. They all kind of are
German.
So they just go, no, like 0 to 60 is around 3.6. And we'll just give them to the journalists. And then the journalists go, whoa, it's actually 3.2, guys. Like, it's actually faster than they say it is.
Yeah.
And I think that sells cars more than Ferrari coming out and going, this new car is 1,000, what is it, an 84 brake? 1,084 brake, the new Testarossa team?
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
Also, manufacturers regurgitating absolute classic names on cars
that doesn't look anything like the Testarossa. I have a Testarossa.
You've got the original.
I have the original Testarossa,
1989,
12,000 miles.
Iconic.
Yeah. And I'm like, where's the Testarossa in the Testarossa? So it pisses me off.
I went on ChatGPT and put in the original Testarossa and I said, can you modernize this to a 2025 road Ferrari?
Did you do that visual?
Yeah, and so I sent the image into ChatGPT, and the first thing that it came back with was like a 458/488, but it still had the slats down the door at least.
Yeah.
To capture.
That is part of what the Testarossa is.
Yeah.
I've criticised Ferrari a bit. They probably don't care. But I just want to say, I love Ferrari. And I can't work out if I'm being an old 46-year-old bastard and living in the past of, I love the F40. I love the Testarossa. I own the Testarossa. Or why are they making Duplo Lego bricks with Chrysler back ends when they are a Ferrari?
With a weird black bar across the front.
What is it just me?
No, I don't think so. So I come up from a different perspective.
How old are you?
34.
Okay, so we're in between generations.
Yeah. So the first sort of Ferraris that I grew up, my dad's favourite Ferrari is the Testarossa. So I had a model of an F40, and I was very aware of what the Testarossa looked like in the early days. But the first real Ferrari that I was seeing on the roads was the 360. So to me, that's like a really pretty, curvy, beautiful sounding Ferrari. The 355 was a little bit before my time, but I can appreciate
and that's started to go up a lot in value recently,
And since then, I think they've fluctuated, and there are a lot of people out there that will compare it to when the F1 team is performing, their road cars aren't that good, and then when the F1 team isn't performing, their road cars get better.
Never thought about that.
So there is like a weird conspiracy around that, which I love. Conspiracies I'm all for, especially in the automotive world. For me, I've always been a Lambo guy, and I think my sort of sway away from Ferrari came from my love for cars has come from Formula One. I was about 10 years old. I started to watch Formula One. Michael Schumacher was winning everything, and I was like, "This is boring. Where's the competition? I want to see someone else win." So I actually started supporting his brother, Ralph Schumacher, in the Williams. Yeah. So my first team that I supported in F1 was Williams, but I was always aware of Ferrari. And as I started to get these supercar books, and I started to watch these VHS of Martin Brundle's top 10 supercars, the Lambos always spoke to me. So I've kind of pledged my allegiance to Lamborghini fairly early on. Don't get me wrong, there's quite a few Ferrari models that I like, but I'm not as excited about getting behind the wheel of them as I am Lambo. So when I see what Ferrari are doing right now, I'm like, this is only good for Lambo.
Right, yeah.
Because I've also been a little bit worried about Lamborghini now only offering hybrid cars. You walk into a Lamborghini dealership, the only cars that you can buy from Lamborghini are all hybrid.
Oh, wow.
You can only order Urus SE,
right? Yeah.
Temerario, and Revuelto. So that's now from a sort of
But they still look...
Oh, they look ridiculous.
Sexy.
Yeah, the Revuelto, for me, if I'm going to go and buy a new car tomorrow, it's that.
Yeah.
It's just a UFO on the road.
Yeah.
And Ferrari, I've got some good relationships with dealerships. I know some people at the factory. I know some people in the sort of like Northern Europe team. I don't jump at the chance to drive them. And actually, someone within the Northern Europe team said to me fairly recently, "It's like, you're the only person who hasn't asked to drive a car in the last year or two." Because you can imagine there's a lot of people wanting to drive a 296, an SF90, a Pura Sangue. But on my channel, I just don't really want to drive them. I don't want to talk about them because I think I just prefer Lambo. Don't know what it is.
I want to come back to Lambo.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned a word I cannot let you get away with, and that is Purosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the how do you pronounce it?
I mean, I say Pura Sangue.
Okay, which looks like a baby dinosaur.
Yeah.
Hence Saurus.
Yeah.
And has got to be the ugliest 4x4 on the road.
Yeah.
Has got to be the most overpriced 4x4 on the road. I went to see Tom Hartley Jr., who's a classic car expert.
Yeah.
You know, proper sartorial gentleman. And he just bought a Pura Sangue for his wife for like 400 grand.
You're paying for the engine.
I got from Carl, like a 1-year-old RSQ8 for my wife, with every option on it. The Vorsprung. There you go, there's everything.
For like 100 grand.
Well, and back then it was 1-year-old, so it was what? Just over 100.
Yeah.
And it'll probably drop 10 a year maybe. and actually looks better than an Urus in my humble opinion.
Yeah. But also, like, you can drive that car around, and unless you know what it is, as in you're a petrol head, and you're like, whoa, that's the proper one.
I know, the problem is she gets chatted up a lot because guys who know cars are like, what?
Yeah.
Should have got an Urus.
Yeah. There's a lot of that because the RSQ8 is just a softer, slightly recalibrated version than the Urus.
Yeah.
It's maybe like 85% of one. Everyone kind of thinks, it's just a fake Urus, in the same way the R8 and the Hurricane, they share quite a lot of the same components.
Yeah.
They're totally recalibrated, re-engineered. They're very different cars when you drive them back to back. But yeah, obviously the Pure Sangue, you wouldn't be able to drive around a town or a village without someone looking at it, without someone wanting to talk to you, ask you questions, pull into any petrol station.
Do you think it looks good?
No.
And what are they now? Are they dropping, or are they? Cause
I think they are. I think everything is.
Yeah. But I get. Are you still going to pay over 300 for one?
No. I'd rather drive.
Why would?
I think at that level, I can't remember who I had a conversation with, but I was basically given someone a 2-car garage option that equated to the same value as the Ferrari SUV. That I don't think Ferrari even would want you to class it as a 4x4 or an SUV.
So what is it then? It's a hybrid of a hybrid of a hybrid.
Well, it's
a runt.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
We need to build a car with more space because our customers are going to Bentley, to Range Rover, to Rolls-Royce to buy their car that has all of that space. We need to build something for them so that they buy it, which I think they've succeeded in the terms of you're seeing quite a lot of them on the road, but they don't want you to drive it off-road. I don't think they've engineered it to be driven off-road. Therefore, I don't think they want you to call it an SUV or a 4x4. It's just, I think they say FUV. It's like a Ferrari utility vehicle is literally how they've pitched it at some point.
Okay, so let's ask you that question back because that's a good question. For the same money, what would be your 2-car garage instead of one Purosaurus?
For what, 400 grand?
Yeah, or whatever they are, I guess.
I'll probably have Bentley Continental GT Aventador S.
Job done. 2 great cars.
Yeah, you get all of the flamboyant V12 fun, screamy stuff from the Aventador, and then you get the comfort, luxury, but also a hell of a lot of performance in the Bentley as well.
So,
or you could go 911 Turbo S and have that as a real ripper as your daily.
And you've still got nearly 300 left.
Yeah. And then at that point, you go, I'm going to get an Aventador SV, which is going to appreciate in value in 5 to 10 years' time, is definitely going to be 500, 600 grand minimum.
You would like stamp your stamp on that. SVs are going to be that, you think?
I think SVs will be north of 500k in 5 years, yeah.
Wow. What are they now?
So, like 300.
Yeah,
they were like 220, 230 like 2 years ago.
So I have the original Aventador.
Yeah.
And I'd
hold on to that.
Yeah, well, I don't. I've sold cars over the years to buy other cars, but I just plan on keeping them all. Now the problem is I don't have a big enough garage, but I'll deal with that.
I'll look after some.
Okay, right, done. But I might just get a little industrial unit or something like that. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like enough of an upgrade from the Aventador to the S, or even from the S to the SV or the SVJ. And the SVJ looks like your 17-year-old mate, has like modified it. It feels like it's too much. It's trying too hard.
I think.
Or am I old?
No. I think you're right. I think Lamborghini struggle, as every manufacturer does. When they launched the Aventador, you have so many aftermarket tuner companies that are already working on a body kit for that car.
Right, yeah.
Before it launches.
Yeah.
They've got their hands on the CAD designs, everything.
Yeah.
And I know people that do this.
Right.
So I know.
Yeah.
They were working on the Revuelto before the Revuelto was out.
Right. So they're trying to cash in on that, claim that market, are they?
Because the moment the Aventador launches or the Revuelto launches, they want to be first to that market to offer a 40, 50, 60,000 pound carbon fiber kit.
Right.
To accentuate what is already a pretty bonkers supercar. And the moment you're the first mover in that, the chances are you're going to capture that immediate audience for the people that want a different Aventador to everyone else.
Right.
So when Lamborghini then come to going, Christ, we've got to do that, but we've got to make it more aerodynamic. We've got to make it more performance enhancing, and we've got to make it a better drive to what it already is. And don't get me wrong, Lamborghini probably already had the Aventador SVJ and reverse engineered it back to go, right, how do we incrementally make
Yeah.
it better for the product lifespan? And your Aventador is night and day between where the SVJ is.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Like, if you drove them back to back, you'd be like, they're completely different cars.
Yeah.
What year is your Aventador?
It's 2015.
Okay, so I think it came out in 2011. I think in 2013, Carl will be watching this and going, "You're wrong, you're wrong." But I'm pretty sure it was 2013 they updated it because it was when the Roadster came out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've got the Roadster. Yeah.
yeah, so yours will be better than a 2011 car,
Right.
like vastly.
Yeah.
I've driven a 2011 car.
It's more like the Murcielago, probably.
Yeah. Because I had a Murcielago. I drove a 2011. I was like, this is worse than the Murcielago.
Yeah.
Because it's more automated. There's more tech in the Aventador, but it actually isn't that good. Whereas the Murcielago is the last of the mechanical paddle e-gear gear shift. So you can play it a little bit more like a musical instrument.
Right.
There's too many computers in the Aventador from 2011 to 2013 that actually makes it drive worse if you're driving it slow.
Yeah.
So 2015 is not too bad. Aventador S with the 4-wheel steer basically means you can turn the steering wheel with one finger and maneuver really easily. So the Aventador SV is before S, so it's pre 4-wheel steer.
Right.
So the Aventador SV is like
so the SV came out before the S.
Yeah, and that's a real brute. Like that's
the SV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's kind of like the peak pinnacle of Aventador generations.
Right.
Then the S came out. It's a little bit easier. It's much lighter through the steering. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
And you got a good sound and it's easy to drive. And then the SVJ is like an even lighter, more hardcore, brutal track version of the S. So you can see the evolution and you can see how the car has improved. But then going back to my original thing of how manufacturers are just chasing the number on the paper to be like, we have to make it faster. We have to make it more powerful so that people buy it. But actually, when you do drive them, your car's fast enough.
Yeah. Because that's the thing.
Why not just improve how it drives for roads?
Yeah.
Better suspension, better braking, a lighter car. Like go after power to weight, not just power.
Right, yeah.
But obviously now the problem with hybrid is everything's heavier. So they have to go crazy with the power to try and hide the weight.
Right.
And that's what's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, because I never went up through the line because I just thought it's not worth it. I mean, the S is, quite a lot more money than the Aventador. It was when it came out.
A mad stat that feel free to try and fact check because I've got a pretty,
I'm sure they will on the comments.
I've got a pretty decent source.
Yeah.
Shmee 150.
Right.
He has done the production numbers. The Aventador S is the rarest variant of the Aventador. From start to finish, they made the least amount of Aventador S's.
But the Roadster, there's not many of the Roadster, is there?
That is the rarest.
So the Aventador S Roadster is the rarest.
Is the rarest variant.
But I guess the Aventador Roadster's quite rare.
It's fairly, but they made a lot more of the Aventador Roadster. It was the SV and the SVJ that were the limited edition cars, the numbered cars. But when you look at the production numbers, because there was such a small gap between production stopping on Aventador and Aventador SV, and then them flowing into Aventador S, but then they just started to punt out the SVJ. And Lamborghini was saying, this is the last naturally aspirated V12, like this is the one. And then I know a few people that ordered it, went mental on the spec, thinking, I'm going to have this because it's going to be £1 million. This is the last naturally aspirated V12 Lamborghini.
And then they made loads of them.
And then they made the Ultimate.
Oh, I mean, that's dirty. That's a dirty trick.
McLaren do it as well. But
I mean, they all do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dirty trick.
I think they just had leftover engines or leftover chassis.
Did they
were
though?
like, what do we do with this? Let's make another special edition.
So do you think the SVJ will keep going up?
I think so.
What is it now, roughly?
That's a good question. I would say like on average between like 425 and 475 maybe.
Okay. And
then it's a bit more.
Yeah, and then the SV is
350.
But you think that's going to be
I think the Roadsters are a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I reckon in years to come, I think the SV, just purely because of the name SV, if you look at the Diablo SV, and yes, of course, you've got SVJ with the Mura, I believe. Or maybe it's just the Jota.
Is there a Murcielago SV?
Yeah,
I thought so. Yeah. Because they've started to go up quite a lot now, haven't they? The Murcielagos.
Murcielagos in general, I think, if you've got a good one, like a nice, clean, UK supplied, non-crashed car, they're a very easy car to crash. There's a lot of them out there that are crashed. You definitely want to check whether the chassis is straight when you're inspecting it.
Yeah.
Even in the last year or so, I've seen some photos of UK cars.
Yeah.
Not in one piece.
Whoa. Yeah. All right. So let's come back to cars.
Yeah.
But right now, everyone's talking about GVE.
Okay.
And, what's going on there. What's your perception of what happened or is happening at GVE?
I'm so far detached from that scenario, from like the business aspect.
But you know the car world.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I knew a few people that worked down there. I knew one of the buyers who was a really nice guy. Saw him maybe like 2-3 months ago.
And you must have known some guys who had cars there.
No
one.
The only person that I did know, it wasn't they had a car there, but they were going to collect a car for someone.
Right.
And it was quite an awkward scenario because the car was in the service centre. It wasn't for sale. They were just doing some work on the car. So it was in pieces.
Right.
So they had to go and collect the car and then also walk around the workshop going, yeah, that's for that car. That bit's for that car as well. So I think that was quite a strange scenario. But when the whole company went into administration, as far as I'm aware, the car was on a ramp.
Right.
So it wasn't a car that was for sale. I'm not going to be able to shed too much light on the GVE stuff, but I know David, like I met him maybe like 12 years ago when my channel was really first starting out, and he was a nice guy, let me walk around the showroom. But any time that I was going in there, it was more just to go and check the cars out that were for sale there. There was no sort of business arrangement. There was a couple of conversations about, do you want to come and do some videos? Do you want to come and drive some cars? I knew the social media guy there. But there was never anyone that I knew in the last 6 to 12 months that either had a car for sale there. And maybe that's something that the people that I know knew what was going on with GVE, but I've never used them to buy or sell cars. Like I don't have much connection there at all.
No, I'm seeing quite a few people kind of jump on them and criticize them. And I wanted to know your thoughts. Personally, I think it's poor taste to do that. But I suppose if there have been some shenanigans going on, that needs to come out. But I guess it's hard now to run a car business. I mean, everyone goes, oh yeah, sale or return, that's great. But I
don't think it is.
No, I think it must be hard to run a car business today.
Yeah. And
after lockdown, wasn't everyone a car dealer?
Yeah,
like everyone was a watch dealer.
Everyone. Yeah. I mean, they were making so much money in buying a car and marking it up. And there was obviously this just huge bubble in the market where prices just started to go through the roofs because you couldn't order the new stuff. Everyone knows about it. I know a few people that run dealerships, and then a friend of mine, Archie Hambleton, set up a dealership at the beginning of last year. And every conversation I had, wherever I went, was, is he all right? Is he mental? Like, does he really want to get into this business? Because I think they all started to feel this like strain on the market. All of the cars were coming back to what they probably should have been priced at. They're now dropping even lower. The demand is there. Not there. This whole sort of like speculation buying as well of like, I'm going to put my name down on the new 992 Turbo S because I'm going to buy it and flip it.
Yeah.
That's all been eradicated, which I think maybe the market's adjusted itself. Maybe the manufacturers have somehow built a different price strategy into the way that you order these cars now to try and eradicate the people. Because I remember...
As in charging more money?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right.
From what I'm seeing now, people are walking into a used car specialist expecting to look at a brand new car. And my friends are like, this car's got 35,000 miles on. It's going to have a couple of stone chips. Like, I can't make the car perfect. And I think they're scratching their heads and banging their heads against the wall because this expectation of, I've seen a guy on Instagram who's got a car dealership that's done this, done that, and he spent £2,500 prepping that car. He's put a ceramic coat on it. Can you do that for me? And it's not the reality of the industry. And I think maybe social media is giving a skewed perspective. I mean, it's giving a skewed perspective on everything.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about
in the car world,
women and filters. Sounds like the same thing in cars.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Perception versus reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Right now, your personal data is being sold and exploited, and probably without you knowing. Every day, countless companies are invading your personal privacy, by buying and selling your data for their profits. But the good news is there's a way to opt out of this, and this is why I'm excited to partner with Incogni. Because what Incogni do is they work, hustle, and force on your behalf in the background to remove all of your personal data from all of these intrusive databases, marketing lists, and companies. So to stop the spam and protect your privacy, go right now to incogni.com/disruptors to get an exclusive 60% discount off an Incogni plan. That's incogni.com/disruptors, or click the link in the description. So you mentioned about you buy a Hurricane and then you want to put a deposit down on the lightweight version.
Yeah.
Have the car manufacturers been having it away and taking the piss out of us with these GT3 RSs and these special editions and making us buy a load of depreciating cars, 15 Porsche Taycans, which will halve in 2 years, just to get that sexy model, but then we don't get it? Is that a big con, or are they within their rights to do that? But just tell me what you really think.
That is a great question, because I think some of it, I mean, a lot of it comes down to brand strength. So I think from a Porsche perspective, from a Ferrari perspective, they know that when they drop a limited edition car, they will have a long list of people that will want to buy it. Remove the whole speculation ordering process. There's enough people that want to buy those cars because they want to own them. They want to add them to the collection. They want to drive them. They want to track them. They want to do whatever. There's enough rich people that
would buy one of 500 cars or
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is a lot of them are happy to play the game of buying the Panameras or the California T's, the Portofino, Ferraris, Romas, whatever it is, the lesser models that are built so that you can build up this loyalty to the brand. I think the sort of fickle sense is when you then have to sell them back to the dealership, which means they kick you in the nuts on the price just to sell it at a massive profit again. So they basically make the sale twice, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4 times. And Porsche, I think, are worse than Ferrari at this because it's all kind of run from like a dealer level. So I think the dealer has quite a lot of power in where those cars get allocated. I think from Ferrari, it's up in the factory level. So it gets sent in and the application goes right to the top. Whereas what I've seen in the Porsche world is you might have a normal guy that works incredibly hard, or girl who works incredibly hard, that's gone and bought a Macan, a Cayenne, a Panamera, a Taycan just to try and get the next GT3. And then you have someone of social media presence who woos the main dealer principal who goes, you can have one. And then all of a sudden, the guy that's played the game gets swept aside and they've gone, you've not quite made the allocation.
That to me that's a con.
Yeah. And it is happening and you can see it. Like some of my friends have actually experienced that.
Where they've bought a few and then they haven't got
the
car they wanted.
That, yes. And then also the other side. So they've bought maybe 1 or 2 and they've skipped the queue because there's going to be content on their platform. Yeah. And I mean, you're never going to turn down the opportunity to own a dream car and go through that speccing process.
Yeah, and when you jump in a queue, you don't worry about the people in the queue.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the Ferrari side, I mean, regardless, both sides, the manufacturer wins.
I still can't decide what I think.
Yeah.
And I'd like us to land somewhere. Part of me thinks they can do what they want. It's their company.
Yeah.
And if they want to make me buy 6, depreciating Taycans to get the GT3 RS, that's their choice. But then when they tell you you're going to get, the next run and then you don't, or there's shenanigans going on in the dealership and people are jumping and people are falling back behind the queue, that part feels like a con to me.
Yeah. But I even think, even if you got the car, right? So let's say you play the game and you get the GT3 RS. There's still a game to play, which I still feel like is a bit of a scam in the sense that if you do want to sell that car, Porsche go, you have to sell it back to us.
So then they'll give you a lot less money than the market for it.
Yeah, but then they'll still put it up at market value, which is most likely going to be over the sticker price.
Yeah.
So let's say you paid 200 grand for it. They give you 200 grand back going, look, you can have your money back. You can stay in with us. We'll give you the next one. But then they put it up for 350.
Oh, 350.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So If you don't,
Filthy bastards.
but if you don't, blacklisted. So if you were to sell your car for $350 at market value, but do it through like a used specialist or one of your mates that owns a car dealership, Porsche go, you're never buying a car from us ever again. So you've played the game up until the point you've got the car you want, you've paid for it, it's your car. Why can't you do whatever you want with it at that point? Why can't you sell it on eBay? Why can't you sell it on Gumtree?
Wow. See, so again, this opens up another wormhole of moral paradox.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's their brand.
Yeah.
So if they can choose who they want to sell to.
Yeah.
If Ferrari don't want to sell Floyd Mayweather a car because he's bastardized it or he's flipping them,
Yeah.
that's their choice.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think that's dodgy shit.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah. Because if you've
What
got,
do you think? It's a con?
if you've got the money, and it goes back to the brand strength, right? And the control that they have over who they sell to and who they don't sell to. Because if you go down the high street and you walk into a River Island or whatever, if you've got the money, you can buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't that apply in the car world? Why are Ferrari then controlling who they sell their cars to? Because they want to protect their brand image, right? They're now coming out and saying that you can not spec your car how you want. If you walk in now and say, I want pure sangue, I want the bottom half to be pink, but I want the roof to be luminous yellow. And inside, I want a brown cream as if like coffee's been spilt all over the interior. They'll veto it and they'll be like, no, you can't have your car like that because it devalues the brand. We do not want that car on the used car market when you come to sell it. Regardless of whether you say or promise that you want to keep it, they're now controlling how you spec your car.
So they're controlling what you buy, when you buy it, how much you pay,
And how it looks.
and how it looks.
Yeah.
I'll buy a fucking Lambo.
that's what, like,
But then I get it if, you know, I mean, that was a bit of an extreme example.
Of course, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you make it look like a banana,
yeah.
I mean, Ferrari do have an amazing brand.
Yeah.
I
So
kinda
if you look back at the history and Enzo Ferrari, who created it, and all of the work that they've done up until this point, you would probably be a little bit frustrated if you've allowed the company to get to a point where you can make something look shit. Why they wouldn't want to control that.
Yeah.
If they're producing it, it's coming out of Italy, they're passionate about it, and they've got this inherent love for it, because they all do. You go to Maranello, you go to Modena, and they're all in the Ferrari overalls. It is literally like Disneyland for petrol heads.
Wow.
It's incredible. So then if you do see some crazy crocodile leather nutty Ferrari driving around, you're like, why the heck, who spec that? Why have they allowed that to get built? So I do understand it from that side as well. It's a really hard thing to get my head around, and I think the nice reality is I'm probably never going to be in that position where I'm going to have Ferrari telling me, no, you can't build that car in that color or that spec, because I'm probably never going to buy one new.
Well, you'll just go and buy a Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it does get to the point where if there are so many rules and regulations and stipulations, I'll just go buy a Lamborghini.
Yeah. I had a story where I was in Italy, actually at the Pagani factory, because they're all very close together. It's like a sort of triangle.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was a story that I was told where someone who, very wealthy, big car collection, had just gone to Pagani to collect his very special Pagani that he'd probably spent a couple of million on. Big day for him. He'd done a factory collection. He had met Horatio. He had met the whole team that had built his car.
Yeah.
And he just thought, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. Like, I've also got a very special Ferrari on order.
Right.
I'm going to drive my Pagani with my wife. We're going to do a little road trip to the Ferrari factory, and we're going to meet the team, and we're going to spec my Ferrari.
Yeah.
They got to the gates. Ferrari told them to go to the park and ride. They're like, you can't bring that car in. And they're like, what? They're like, yeah. Go to the park and ride and get the bus back. If you want to come in and you want to spec your car, that's how you're going to come in. Like, that is how pretty intense it is over there.
So is that great brand, or is that just arrogance?
I think it's the latter. At that point,
It's arrogance.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that it's a power move, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, no matter how much money you've got, no matter how many cars you've got in a collection, and yes, you've played the game with us to get to a level where you're being able to afford the really special cars, you're being invited to buy all of this, that's power. It's like, nah, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how much money you've got, you're not coming in.
Thing is, now someone can just go and post about that all over social media.
Back in the day, I drove my Lamborghini that I had to the Ferrari, and I thought it was really funny. I was taking pictures of it outside. I was got my Lamborghini key and I'm holding it up to the Ferrari and taking all of these pictures. I don't know what would happen now if I did that. But back then it was kind of like no one really knew the power of social media, or no one knew just how big it was going to get.
Yeah.
But those pictures are on my Instagram.
Right. Wow. All right. I want to come back to cars.
Okay.
But what's the story of Supercars of London? What's your story? You know, obviously you're a great content creator as well.
Yeah.
Are you more a creator, or are you more a supercar dealer, seller? Tell us your story.
It's very much content creation is sort of like 80% of it. It's ebbed and flowed over the years. I started in 2006. So I was filming really early days, and I had the YouTube channel prior to Supercars of London that was just filming cars in London. So for the first 5 to 6 years, I never put myself on camera. I was chasing after these cars in Knightsbridge, in Mayfair, dreaming of what it would be like to just be inside that car, to just have the point of view of being sat behind the steering wheel. And I was also fascinated as what these people were doing for a living to be able to afford these cars. Because back then, there wasn't such thing as car finance. If you wanted one of those cars, you had to buy it cash.
Yeah.
I think it was 6 years to hit 100,000 subscribers. And that was through a bunch of viral videos of the guys from the Middle East coming over to London. And then from there, it took another 4 months to hit 200,000.
That's a good life analogy, that is.
So, yeah, there was a window that overlapped between that 100,000 milestone where I started to put my face on camera. I started to talk a little bit, and I wanted to document my own journey and show my audience, which was maybe at 75, 80,000 subscribers. I wanted to show my audience who was behind the videos.
Yeah.
And it was Shmee who suggested that I go and put my face on camera.
Yeah.
He was like, people will want to know who you are and your story.
Yeah.
And that has then evolved into like the real peak of the golden era of going on these YouTuber road trips where it felt like cheap Top Gear. We were all buying these cars. I was 24 years old and I had my first Lamborghini, which was a real bucket list moment for me.
Yeah.
And we were driving down to Monaco. What we hadn't quite realized was the business model hadn't quite been thought out. We were all going and buying these expensive cars, depreciating them by the mile, putting loads of miles on them, staying in hotels, paying for petrol. We were churning these videos out, which we would absolutely love doing, but the actual concept to make any money whatsoever was just not there. We were spending so much money to basically just make it all back and then cover our costs.
Right.
So it was quite a lifestyle business. And then as I've grown up, I've looked at ways in which I can work a bit smarter. I've looked at different ventures to try and support my revenue stream, sort of reduce the risk. And the one thing that I'm finding a lot now is these opportunities, these paid partnerships, the endorsements of brands and companies that want to work with me and use my platform that I've built to promote their product, their service, which is a really fun way of doing it because it allows me to pick the ones that I believe in. It allows me to pick the ones that either I've already used naturally or organically before they've then converted and started to pay me.
Yeah.
But then it's also given me the idea of these guys are making money from me by paying me. Maybe I could just almost reverse engineer that and start my own companies and then use the platform that I've built, and I can put my name behind that company because it's me. It's something that I've created. So that's like where I'm currently at now, looking at like the next few years going forwards. It's like, right, my projects that I've started, that I'm passionate about, that I believe are going to really benefit my audience one way or another, whether it is a product or a service, and use my platform in that way to reach out to a wider audience and hopefully bring everything up so that there's a nice portfolio at the top of different businesses that I can use my YouTube channel as a bit of a platform to create fun content that actually will help also leverage my business ventures into a new area or audience. So that's where I'm at. Supercars of London is a great, fun, every single day is different.
Do you do content every day?
Not anymore.
No.
I did. I got burnt out.
Right.
I reckon every 4 months, I basically just have to sit in a room and just stare at a ceiling and be like, I can't pick up a camera again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It got pretty dark in the sort of 2018, between like 2017 and 2019. I like was desperate for a break. I like needed a break. And every time I analyzed everything, trying to figure out when I could take a break, I just couldn't, because you're just feeding the beast on YouTube. You're playing the algorithm game. And if you take a break when no one else does, everyone else just carries on and you stand still. And so I could never actually find a time where I could go, yeah, I'm going to take a month off.
How many subscribers you got now?
950.
Wow.
950,000. So yeah.
And because you got nearly that on Instagram as well.
Yeah. So the Supercars of London Instagram, almost like it grew by itself because I was going out and filming and photographing all of the content. And then I realized I can't spend all of the time gathering all of the content, bringing everything in. So I started to share the best photos of the best cars that were being seen in London and tagged the photographer. And I started to create like a reshare page.
So other people could put their content on your channel.
Yeah. And then they could grow their own audience. So there's quite a few of the car spotters out there now who have essentially like built a big platform that I'd like to think I've had a bit of a part in helping get them up to that point, because I've just kind of handpicked the best photographers that are dedicated their time to going out and photographing these cars. And then I was just able to reshare them to a bigger audience. And then they've like the following has just kind of gone like that. So it's very cool. And I love seeing these guys now, obviously continuing doing what they're doing, but with a nice following.
Nice. So rank these supercar brands in order, fourth to first.
Mm-hmm.
So start with fourth: McLaren, Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini. Start with the fourth best, i.e. the worst for you.
In that order, I think it's McLaren
fourth,
McLaren fourth, Ferrari
third,
Porsche
second,
Lamborghini.
So Porsche second.
Yeah.
Ferrari a third.
Yeah.
Ooh, so I've asked a few people this, and if they were in here right now, you'd be having a fight. Why? Why McLaren fourth?
I probably put McLaren fourth for a number of reasons. The performance is probably their best pull, which actually
isn't that the top measure of a supercar, though?
Yeah, but it's useless on the road.
Right. Okay.
So their cars now, the Artura, the 750S, even like the sort of hyper stuff, like the W1 that's coming out, is going to be useless on the road. Like they're too fast. And then you look at the build quality, reliability, usability, and it's pretty bang average for a car that you're going to be charging 250 grand for. And I just think like the engine plays a massive factor for me, and it doesn't have much soul. It doesn't have much character. It's a tool that has a function, and it's very, very fast. But I just think I was never a big fan of the McLaren F1 as that sort of iconic pinnacle Concorde moment in the automotive industry. I never really attached myself to that car or fell in love with it. So when they came back with the 12C and moved forward, they evolved the supercar world very, very quickly. I think Ferrari, Lamborghini were kind of cruising at their own pace. When McLaren came in and started setting the benchmarks higher, Lamborghini and Ferrari had to catch up. But I put them fourth purely because they don't give me the fizz. They don't make me feel special when I'm driving the car. I wouldn't want to own one purely from the reliability perspective.
And they depreciate a lot, probably because of that, don't they?
Yeah.
Is it true about their customer service is really bad?
I have no idea.
Okay, fine.
Never bought a car.
No, I haven't owned one, so.
I do know their build quality over the years has not been great, and I think they have improved it. But I've seen some cars that have had rear bumpers removed for exhaust changes and things like that, and some of the stuff I've seen or been made aware of by the people that
like what?
Go like have a look at that. So like the heat shield stuff, you know, like if you're protecting something because it's getting so hot, you would expect on a 250 grand car that it's been done correctly. And this just looked like a kid had wrapped up a Christmas present.
Oh.
And like it was ripped.
Right.
Like it wasn't covering it all properly.
Yeah.
And you think this is a 220 grand McLaren 720S, for example.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that kind of thing correctly. What else aren't they doing correctly? If they can't do that, which is a fairly basic but fundamental thing, where else are they cutting corners? I think they've improved now. I've not driven a McLaren in 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And I always I flirt with the idea because I've never had one. So
And,
I'm like,
and when they get cheap, you start to
Yeah,
think about it, don't they?
yeah.
Because you can get a lot of metal for your money now.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But then again, like I think the older cars, you're getting a lot more rust than you are metal.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, they're at the bottom.
Right. Ferrari third. Woo! I mean,
Yeah.
that's damning.
Yeah.
Why Ferrari?
I would probably happily put Ferrari fourth. I like 2 Ferraris.
Which Ferraris do you like?
3, but one of them's like
Okay.
4 million quid. F12, 430 Scuderia. In terms of driving, for me, the Scuderia is the absolute best Ferrari.
Right. Wow.
The size, the weight, the power, the gearbox, the sound, the way that it's been stripped out. That to me is the perfect package of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
The F12 is a little bit more outrageous because obviously it's 700 odd brake horsepower, but it just screams like it's just a perfect V12 sound. And then all of the other stuff like LaFerrari, everyone's going to scream at me for being like, wow, what about the LaFerrari Aperta? What about this? What about that? But it's like, it's 4 million quid. It literally doesn't register in my brain. I can appreciate it. I can look at a picture of it and go, okay, that's cool. And I've been lucky enough to see a lot of them on the road and I'm like, yeah, that's mega. But it's so far out of the realm of what I'm thinking is possible that I never look at it as that'd be cool to own. I'm not that fussed. The other car that I do really like from Ferrari is like a black F50. But if you give me a red one, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't even want to drive it.
Why? You just
have-
think it looks wrong in red and good in black.
Any other color in the F50, I'm not interested in even looking at it. Black, I'm like, that's like one of the coolest things ever. And I don't know, like that's just how, what's the word? Not specific, but in all of these years of me seeing all of these cars, driving so many, and being lucky enough to experience them, drive them, be a passenger in them, I've almost like fine-tuned what I like and don't like so much that what is in the I like pile is very particular. And then everything else just kind of sits over here.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So have you kind of ruined cars for yourself then?
Like maybe.
Yeah. A bit like
but
a prostitute ruining sex for themselves.
I can't speak from experience on that. But to me, the Murcielago was the car that it had so much emotion attached to it. And I actually just, that experience of owning that car, collecting it, the collection day, and going through that process of getting the perfect exhaust on it, making it the perfect color, driving it. There is no amount of money that I can attach to experiencing that as a life goal. That everything since, I look at it like from a sort of financial perspective and I'm like, but it's never going to be that. So even if you were to say,
sad.
Even if you were to say,
your best, the
I'm gonna
best
give you-
girl you're ever going to meet is one of your exes. You've ruined it for yourself.
If you said to me, I'm going to give you 5 million quid, go and get your dream car garage, but you cannot buy a Murcielago, I'd be able to spend that money, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much as if you were to say, here's 200 grand, go and buy a Murcielago.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. A friend of mine's been trying to get me to get a Murcielago, and he was talking to me when a good one was like sub 180, maybe 170, 160, and they've moved up. And I don't know. I just thought, but you're kind of talking me around now.
I don't have one for sale.
Well, the thing is, I had a 430 years ago. It was in my 20s, and I remember 355s were 30 grand.
Wow.
And I was like, well, look, I've just paid 75 grand for this 430. I'm not going to get another Ferrari. Why would I?
Yeah.
And now they're like a crap one's 100.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a part of me thinks, but like, I'm thinking I've got an Aventador. I need to go and buy an industrial unit. But everyone speaks so highly of the Murcielago. People are fanatical about that car, aren't they?
Yeah.
I know a whole club, a whole crew of people. It's just the Murcielago.
Yeah. And even now, like if I'm out and about, wherever I end up bumping into someone who's watched my videos, a subscriber or a follower of mine on Instagram, Murcielago, first conversation, near on every single time. If it's not that, it's I've been following you since the R8 days.
Right.
So it's either like I've been following you from the beginning when you were car spotting and you bought your first car, because that was a real sort of like moment for me, and that's what started the trajectory for my following. But that Murcielago, I think, because it's such a brutal sledgehammer pinnacle of Lamborghini's history in a way, and it was before the Aventador, but just after Diablo, the Murcielago SV, I think, is like a unicorn for quite a lot of people. Just in general, I just get so many. I've had so many cool conversations with people about that car.
Yeah.
That I think I have a rose tainted, rose tinted, of the ownership of that car, because there were some imperfections to it, as you would expect, but that's what gave it character.
Right.
So I almost overlook the problems that I had with that car during the ownership of it, and I'm just like, that was the coolest thing ever.
Okay, so Porsche was second. I mean, some people have said to me, well, a Porsche isn't even really a supercar.
Yeah, I just love comfort. I love I love the Panamera.
Did you say you're
34.
Are you sure you're not 54?
Yeah,
if you love the Porsche, because I've had the last two Panameras, the turbo before there was a Turbo S in it, and the Turbo S. I fucking love that car.
Yeah,
and I'm like, am I going to want a Bentley soon?
Oh,
am
no,
I that old?
I'm already there. Am
I that old? But then let's be fair though, Bentley and Lambo are good at targeting younger people. Ferrari still seem to be targeting older people.
Yeah. I think Ferrari is it's a class. I think it's classier. So when you're in Monaco, you see a lot of people driving Ferraris.
But the new ones aren't classier, are
No,
they?
I agree. No, you're not seeing people drive them.
No.
But you're seeing the 812s and but then if you want to go back to the classics and you want to start seeing like the Testarossas, the Ferrari F40s, then that's like Monaco is a really good barometer of where you see old money and new money.
Yes.
And you can tell who's new money and who's old money based on the car that they're driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the sort of age and sort of lust for a comfortable car. And I don't know whether it's because I've had some pretty crazy, loud, uncomfortable cars. And don't get me wrong, I can still put up with them. But it is when you then just start getting exposed to, this is what the Bentley's like, or this is what the Mercedes S-Class is like, that every now and again I'm like, I would quite like a break from my car that's just bouncing down the road and I feel every pothole and every little undulation in the tarmac. It would be quite nice to have a bit of air suspension every now and again.
Was it M4 you turned
M3,
up? M3,
which is lowered. So I'm a sort of...
so you've lowered it.
Yeah.
So you got a car you could drive every day and you lowered it.
This is what all of my friends say.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very much self-capitulating or self-destructing.
Self-sabotage.
Yes.
You have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You've got a very high-class, sporty, fast daily.
Yeah, and I've ruined it.
And you're turning it into a car you don't want to drive every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that happens a lot. But I think it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
Silver has crashed. It's back to its price in 1974, and I'm going to buy more. And if you'd like to learn how to invest and build multiple streams of recurring income, I recommend you join Money.School. Money.School is my global financial education platform to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge. For less than 4 Starbucks coffees a month, there are hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses going back a decade to teach how to make, manage, and multiply money and gain financial freedom. So join thousands of other money and freedom seekers on the link Money.School and start today your journey to financial freedom and more money.
So, what is the most overrated car right now? Everyone's hyped about it, but you're like, come on, no.
Oh, I literally had this. I was talking. Who was I talking to? And I think every Ferrari, maybe not every Ferrari, because it's overrated is something that people are talking about a lot in a manner that is amazing, right?
But it's not that good.
It's not.
Yeah.
And actually,
or everyone thinks it's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah, I actually think Ferraris now, the majority of the people aren't hyping them up.
Right.
From what I've seen on social media,
so they're not
especially about the
overrated
launches,
because they're not
overrated.
rated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a good question. I feel like I need to pull something out. Do you know what? Mercedes, AMG, anything that Mercedes are doing, AMG, But no, because a lot of people aren't really particularly happy about them either, because they're not putting the V8 in the stuff. And that's frustrating.
By the way, this isn't an Oxford University debate. You're really thinking about it. You don't have to overthink.
Do you know why? It was because last week...
define overrated. Yeah.
But I had a conversation with someone and we were literally talking about this and it's just not in my brain.
Well, I'm going to tell you mine.
Go on then.
Ferrari Pura Sangue.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Ferrari Pura Sangue.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't even fucking say the car, that is the most overrated car by at least 200 grand.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
All right. So we might come back to that if you can beat that.
Yeah.
All right. What about the most underrated car?
It could be if you walked into, and it's going to sound like I'm being paid by Porsche, but I'm not. Just walk. I would love to do this one day. Walk into a Porsche dealership and go, oh, I want to buy a 911. They go, fantastic. Which one? The GTS? The Turbo S? Just a 911. Just the rear wheel drive 911. I don't want any badges on it. And they go, okay, perfect. Sit down. Let's go through the options. Let's start speccing it up. You need the Porsche ceramic brakes, or you need PASM, or you need Burmester, or you need all of these options. Like, are you going to do the stitching? Are you going to? I don't want any. Just make me a 911 with no options. I don't think Porsche would accept that. I actually don't think Porsche would ever sell you that. But that, in my opinion,
I think that might be the best answer to this question.
Is the most underrated car, because they've just built like a list of different variants of the 911.
Because all the other cars are that car with bits on top.
Yeah.
So just because it's got more bits on top doesn't mean it's worth 2 or 3 times the price. The best value is in the standard one.
Yeah.
Woo!
But I don't know whether Porsche will go, yeah, no problem. We can build you a 911 with no options. I don't know whether they would even accept that.
Yeah.
But I think when everyone talks about the Carrera T or the GTS or the Turbo S, and obviously there's a lot of hype around the Turbo S now because they've just done 992.2 Turbo S. And then you've got GT3 and GT3 RS, which obviously are in a league of their own. But everyone forgets about a bog standard 911. No one.
And how much is a bog standard 911?
I don't know.
Because no one buys one.
No.
Yeah. But maybe cheaper than you think.
Yeah.
And then if you get a 3 or 4 year old one.
Because then Porsche, they'll probably try and sell you into it, be like, why don't you go and get a Cayman? And then we can add some options on it. If you're looking at spending 80 grand, if you're looking at spending 80 grand on a 911, like, don't get the base model, because no one's going to want to buy that when you're finished with it. So why don't you go and get the top level Cayman, and we'll put some options on it, make it nice, so that when you're done with it, we can sell it after. Oh. So they'll probably want to try and pull you down to a Cayman, but get you to spend 80 grand on options.
Sneaky.
Versus actually just going in and buying the car you want.
Yeah. Right, I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Okay.
But for me, underrated has to mean value.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have to look at cars that aren't mega expensive or were mega expensive but have plummeted.
Yes.
So what about a Taycan Turbo S for 50 grand? I mean, I would buy that and not even worry about selling it. I just keep it forever, and then after 5 years, it needs a new battery for 25 grand. Doesn't matter. Just park it on the drive and let it stay there and rot. Yeah. That is so cheap. Yeah. 50 grand. What were they? Lockdown
180?
What?
Yeah.
Now, look, I can't believe I'm saying this because it's an electric car.
Yeah.
But when they're under... Is that not an underrated car for the money?
I think so. And I had this conversation with quite a lot of my audience. I posted a 29,995 Taycan. But it was like obviously a base level, no spec. Sub 30 grand for a Taycan. Yeah. And of course, you're going to, from a performance point of view, you're going to be faster than pretty much anyone that's driving around in a petrol or a diesel car.
Yeah.
So you're going to be in the money with performance.
Fairly modern.
Yeah. The Porsche is decent build quality. But a lot of people are like, but look at it. And it's because it's got basic wheels. And it's like, okay, put the Turbo S wheels on and debadge it. It looks like a Turbo S.
Yeah.
There's no difference. But then I had someone basically reply going, my car was 35 grand out of warranty, I think. or he saw the warranty work get done, and the battery replacement was 32.5 grand.
Well, that's part of the reason why they're so cheap.
Yeah.
Because people know this, and it's going to get to the point where you need a new battery. But when you get there,
Well, if you, let's say
you could hack around and find a second-hand battery.
I think so.
I've got an Ariel Atom,
Yeah.
and I bought it, and something went wrong with the engine. And we found a used Honda VTEC
Yeah.
engine. You'll find a used battery somewhere, won't you?
I think so. But the ones that aren't as savvy as you or I.
I mean, I'm not that savvy, but thank you. You're more savvy than me.
If you manage to do that, because
But it doesn't take that much effort.
no, but you've got to be a problem solver, right? Like it's trying to find a solution to the problem that you've got.
But that's how you buy undervalued anything. That's
For
how
sure.
you buy undervalued real estate.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of people that don't have that mindset that think, oh my God, the world's ending because I've got this problem. They don't
Right.
then.
But 50 grand for a turbo. I mean, I guess they're less now.
But what if
Turbo S.
you buy that car and in a year's time you need a battery replacement, it's out of warranty and your insurance company write it off?
Well, all right, it cost me 50 grand for 1 year. There are other cars that would cost you 50 grand in a year. For, like
True,
Range Rover
true.
might cost you 50
You
grand in a
buy
year.
a new Turbo S Taycan and it's
or just sell it for something. Probably
Yeah.
get 20 grand for it.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of that happening's got to be really low.
for sure. But at some point, as time moves on, it's going to become more frequent. And for those people that aren't problem solvers and thinking, I'm going to go and get a secondhand battery, I'm going to do this, and they think I'm just going to jump into a cheap Taycan at 30, 35 grand, I'm going to run that around for 5 years and maybe don't have 35 grand to lose. Are you?
No. Wow. All right. Are you up for a bit of a quick fire round?
Well, you've seen I'm not particularly quick when it comes to answering questions, but I'll try and give it as little thought as possible. We'll give it a go.
I don't want to overly get in your head. But quick fire. What's the most nicked car out there?
Isn't it like a Fiesta, something like that?
Okay. You not heard anything about Range Rovers?
I've heard a lot about them.
Yeah.
But I think still, like numbers wise, I'm pretty sure it's still like Ford Fiestas that just get joy-ridden the most.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, of course, yeah. Range Rovers are nicked quite heavily. I think at some point it was a Ferrari. Ferraris were getting nicked quite a lot.
Really?
Porsches are getting their headlights stolen. Something to do with like a metal compound in the headlight that people are taking out. So they're literally just ripping a headlight out of 911s now. Ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is car insurance now a big scam?
Yeah.
Why?
Always has been.
Why?
I think it's the biggest legal scam.
Ooh, why?
Because they just essentially can charge what they want. We all need it because it's compulsory. And you're seeing now that, and maybe the overall arcing facts and data an insurance company might be able to tell you that we're crashing cars more often. I don't know. But what frustrates me is I've got an actual example for this. Is this the quickfire round?
No, just do it.
Okay.
Go, roll.
So my Audi A1, which was my daily car, I parked it on the side of a road whilst I was on holiday, and a storm came through, tree landed on it, completely crushed the roof on it. And at the time, I was also going through the process of selling my Lamborghini Gallardo, and I wanted to buy a Mercedes AMG GTS. It was a period on my channel that was like really exciting for me. This tree landed on the car, and I had the option of calling up my insurance company with the police reference number and trying to claim on my insurance. I was told, not from the insurance company, they were either going to claim act of God and not pay out, or they would write the claim against my insurance, and then every car or every insurance premium that I had for the next 5 years would increase because I've made a claim on my insurance. So how does that sit as the consumer where I'm paying for a product or a service where one, they're going to try and get out of it, or two, they're just going to rinse me for more money over the next 5 years where it wasn't even my fault? And the worst part of it was I then did the math of what my Audi A1 insurance would cost, because I called up another insurance person who I knew who then tried to help me. And I basically would have spent another $6,000 over 5 years just on my Audi A1. But then we did it on my Mercedes AMG GTS. And if I'd kept that car for 5 years with the claim on my insurance over the 5 years, and it would have cost me another 15 to 20 grand for a tree landing on my car. And in the end, I fixed the car through a body shop, an approved Audi body shop. I paid for it privately.
So you're legally forced to buy car insurance, and then you have to go and pay for it yourself. So you're basically paying twice.
Basically.
So your car insurance is useless.
Yeah. Because I think it cost me around $3,000 to $4,000. And I was just paying, I was in a very fortunate position that through friends, I was able to just pay like the parts and a bit of the labor. And they kind of like did me a good deal. Car was fixed. Car was absolutely fine. And it basically, the cheapest option for me was to continue paying car insurance, not tell them, but actually pay for it myself.
So that Aston Martin DBS there, a lady in a Yaris reversed into it. My PA went out and got the details, and I was about to make a claim because it would have cost me a few grand, because you got the whole rear part of the car, even though it was only a small little bump. I guess hers would have been a little touch up, 50 quid. Yeah. Anyway, I was just about to make the claim, and my business partner went, "Don't do that. Check." And I went, "Well, what do you mean?" Anyway, I checked. And not only were they going to ramp up the premium on my car by I don't know how many thousands,
which stays on for 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's 5 years worth of premium.
They put the premium, or they were going to put the premium up on 14 other of my cars. So all my other cars and all my lettings cars, because my name's attached to it. Not just my cars, the cars on the lettings agency, which I never drive, which are just linked to me. So, and like, the car was parked. A woman reversed into me.
Yeah. It baffles me because I fully understand why we need it, right? Like the actual principle of you need it and you need to have the cover. But the problem comes where I struggle with, and thankfully now I actually do have a specialist insurer that is very supportive of the cars. And thankfully I've not had to make a claim, which also plays in my favor and theirs. But over the time, whenever I've gone on comparison websites and you then take an insurance policy out with them, they are essentially just taking your money and making it incredibly difficult, and will do anything that they can to oil themselves up and slip out of the situation without paying you, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't read the policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I had a watch insured once, and I read the policy, and they said it was insured for loss in the house. Well, that's the only place you're not going to fucking lose your watch. But if you're outside of the house, which is where you're more likely to lose it, not insured.
My wife had a laptop, had insurance on it, which included accidental damage, but in the small print didn't include spillage. She spilled coffee on her laptop.
Well, that's
keyboard.
probably how most people knacker their laptop.
Yeah.
So
But
they
it's not
know
like-
that.
It's not like she's doing it. It's still an accidental damage. It's not like she's gone because that is a purposeful damage if you're frustrated with your laptop or whatever.
That's because they know what they're doing, and they know that's how most people accidentally damage their laptop, and they know no one's read the insurance policy start to finish. Do you know now some cars are 30 grand to insure?
Yeah.
Like, people are handing back Range Rovers.
Yeah.
Because the insurance on them in London is 30 grand.
Yeah.
In 3 years, that car will be 30 grand.
Yeah. I have had so many people talk to me about like buying a Range Rover or buying an SUV in general. And then I say, check insurance.
Yeah.
Don't even bother going into a dealership until you've checked insurance. Because most people are financing these cars, right? So you go into a Porsche dealership and you want to spec up a Cayenne, or you want to go and buy a used Cayenne. Go to the JLR dealership and have a look at the Range Rovers. They'll all be there or thereabouts the same sort of price per month when you want to finance them. 10% in, X amount per month over a 4-year period, whatever. But if you're splitting your monthly payments, you then need to know how much your insurance is going to cost. And if you're saying that a Range Rover in London's 30 grand, I got an insurance quote for a Range Rover when I borrowed one, and it was about 17 grand for the year. And I live outside the M25. I don't even live inside.
17 grand.
So then you think, okay, 17 grand divided by 12, you have to add that payment on top of the monthly payment, because that is a cost.
So it's just more than doubled your fucking monthly payment.
So then everyone that I spoke to, and I've got a great relationship with JLR, but the reality is these are the numbers, and people are making their decision based on what they can afford. Most people are going and buying like an X5 or a Porsche because, yes, the monthly payments might have looked more expensive, but when you then factor into the insurance as well, the Porsche and the BMW were like £400, £500 a month cheaper when you include insurance in that monthly payment as well.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
That was the first quickfire round question. But no, I'm glad we went there because this needs to be called out. Look, I get insurance is a business and I get they've got to make some margin, but it's just got out of hand and it's ridiculous.
I think there needs to be more support to the consumer, and I also think there needs to be more compassion. But the problem is a lot of these insurance companies, and I speak to them, are implementing AI into like the real basic decisions. So it's taken the human element out. So if you're a single mum of 3 kids and you've got a car and someone crashes into the back of you, or is in a situation where someone reverses into your car that's parked, you've got to get it fixed. The first time you speak to the insurance, you're speaking to a computer who's got no emotion.
Yeah.
So all they're doing is a yes or a no, diverting you to where it needs to go. And by that point, they've probably already registered the claim on your account.
Yeah.
So even if you don't go through with it, in 5 years' time, have you had any claims? No, I've never had a claim. Oh, but we've actually got a note here from 4.5 years ago when you did call up and tell us that you were involved in an accident. And whilst you didn't make a claim, we do have to factor that into the premium. And you're like,
yeah, filthy bastards. Right. So that was the first quickfire question. Right. Okay. What's the worst car you've ever driven and why?
Worst car I've ever driven. I drove a Liberty Walk BMW M4. And I think it was bad because of the modification, right? So going into like, what's the worst car I've driven from a manufacturer? I don't think there is one. The worst experience I had on a first experience of driving a car was the Ferrari 812. It was nothing to do with the car. It was everything building up to it and how I basically like didn't get fed for 8-10 hours. We were sat in a room with no windows, no aircon, listening to someone talk about the underside of the car and how they've improved the aero downforce by 85% over the F12. I was so mind-numbingly bored and hungry and desperate for just some fresh air that by the time I got to driving the car, I didn't care. But the Liberty Walk M4 was just, it was horrendous. And it sounded like a machine gun as well. And I drove it around Heathrow and I was terrified because it was around the time where like I think people were a little bit edgy with terrorists and shootings and all of this. And I'm driving this car around, bright yellow Liberty Walk M4. And the M4 is a great car anyway, but this modifications was too much. Like puts my car as like quite a subtle, tasteful mod. But then I remember letting off the accelerator the first time and I was in the Heathrow tunnel going to like T2, T3. And there was like police discoveries driving past. Like there was just like a constant convoy of police and it was just going, poof, 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 poof. And I was like, oh my God, get me out of this. I was terrified.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That springs to mind as a pretty awful half an hour of driving a car.
All right. Have you seen Nico Leonard's exposing this car dealer? Have you seen that?
I have not consumed everything, so I'm not an expert, but I did see a video where this Aventador SV had a problem.
Yeah.
I have followed it loosely, so I know the general parties that are involved. And I think, was it Carl who summarized it quite well, that there were going to be 3 sides to the story.
What are the 3 sides?
Well, his side, dealer side, and the truth is what he said, I think.
Right.
But the thing is,
do you think it's right to go and expose someone who's sold your car and it's gone wrong on the internet?
It depends whether he's got a leg to stand on. And I'm not convinced if you're buying a car that's worth as much as that car is worth, that he's not seen it, for starters.
Right.
Christ, like.
So you think he might...
Even the process that I'm going through now to buy a $100,000 car, I've already had 3 cars inspected.
Yeah.
And they weren't $100,000. One of them was $55,000, one of them was 60, and then one was 80. Every single one of them has gone on a ramp and been inspected by a specialist and been driven. Because one thing, the dealer will more often than not be happy for you to have the car inspected if they're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
That's the first way that you can eradicate a problem like what this guy's dealing with. 2, you can also get a decent perspective of what the car's history is like, whether it's lived outside, whether it's lived in a garage, whether the car's been clocked, whether the car's had a good service history, well maintained. And 3rd, like it gives you the confidence, if those 2 things are all matching up, whether it's the right car to buy.
Yeah.
So I've had these cars inspected. A couple of them were dogs. A couple of them was like proper, they needed a lot of work. They were 20-year-old Italian supercars. So the chances are they're going to need some work. I was more than happy to go into this car buying experience and journey needing a little bit of TLC on these cars. So for him, and I don't know the full story, but as far as I'm aware, he didn't have that car inspected and he didn't see it.
Right.
So at that point, if you're going in to the deep end and spending the best part of £250,000 on a car or even anything that you've not physically seen or at least inspected as to whether it is a good product, some of the blame needs to land on him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the dealer can do all of the work and all of the checks that might be required. But at the same time, if it's a seller return car, he might have taken the owner's word on the car is solid. There's no engine light, which can easily be dialed out and coded out if he wanted to. But if you're selling a car on behalf of someone, you might just need to clean it every now and again, keep it on a trickle charge, maybe drive it every now and again. You might not know the gremlins that are underneath. You might not know that that car's been crashed. You might not know that that car's been clogged. And there are certain things that you can do as a dealer that will eradicate those problems. So maybe there are two sides to the story where the car's actually not as good as the owner said it is, and the dealer's kind of just taken his word for it. And then this guy's bought the car without inspecting it or without doing the right due diligence on whether it's a good product or not. And they're somewhere in the middle where neither of them are really wanting to take the blame for it. And the situation's a bit of a shit show.
Yeah.
But
And
then
Nico's good at blowing shit up on social media, isn't he? He's got
and
that
then at
kind
that
of...
point, if you've got the platform, I have very much been in scenarios where I could have gone to my social media and exposed whoever is trying to screw me over and,
Why didn't
and
you?
scam me. Purely because I would rather deal with it privately. And my way of dealing with something like that privately, if someone has got me to a point where I'm so close to social media to try and get people aware of what's going on, I'd rather deal with it privately or can just completely cut them off. And then if I have a conversation with someone at an event or we're talking about a certain scenario, oh, why aren't you filming with that guy anymore? Or why aren't you doing anything with that? I'll maybe explain why. But there was one time that I went to social media where I got scammed a car rental.
And did you expose it on social media?
Yeah, I completely lost it because I just felt like they had completely ripped out all of my credibility and who I am as a person, which is I'm very honest and I like to think like a well-respected, straight, transparent person. And they basically tried to claim that I damaged the car, but they only sent photos 7 days after I'd returned the car.
Right.
I returned the car absolutely mint, with a bit of dirt on it from the road. And they took 7 days to send me pictures of damage on the car. And I was like, you could have had that out hired 3 times since I've had it. So how are you getting away with that? Now, immediately taking the money, which was like 1,500 quid for a tiny little scuff on the boot of the car.
Right.
And thankfully, through a friend who is in the car leasing world, knew the CEO, he said, message him on LinkedIn. So I messaged him on LinkedIn. He hadn't seen my Instagram stories at all. We jumped on a Zoom call. I told him everything. He launched a complete investigation and realized that that franchise in Switzerland had actually gone against the company's terms and conditions by taking so long to send me the photos. They refunded me the money straight away.
Oh, wow. Nice. So sometimes the social media is useful.
Yeah. Like I tried to blow it up and I let a lot of my audience know what was going on because I felt like it was interesting consumer advice, but actually...
you were pissed.
Yeah, I was fuming. The email that I sent back to the Swiss franchise, oh my God. I didn't know I had it in me. But then after that, I had 2 other calls with the CEO and talked about how can I come in as like from the consumer side and look to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
Because it really annoyed me because it just cut me like straight open as if to be like, you've been trying to cover up this damage.
Yeah.
Which
Have you ever been on Mark McCann's show?
No.
Oh, you should go on. He does such similar things. I'll connect you guys. I don't know if you must know him.
I nearly bought one of his cars quite a while ago, one of his Aventadors, but it never came through because COVID came.
Yeah. Yeah, but he does quite a lot of that stuff as well. And he does it in a good way. You know, he's like comes across as a good, honest guy, not just trying to get clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Paul, this has been great. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah.